Good morning, everybody, and welcome to an insurance chat with Debbie. Because insurance doesn't matter until it does. So I'm so glad you joined us today. We have a special guest. We're going to talk about long term care and how we can supplement that. So, first, love to introduce you to my guests. Hello.
Hello there, Deb. How are you today?
I am doing great. It is great to see you. We've met a couple times at
We
some
have.
Daytona Volusia Business Women events,
Right.
and
That's
so
right.
glad to have you on and tell us about you and what exciting things you're doing lately.
Okay, my name is Vivienne Anderson. I am an author of the book Traumas, Transformation, and Glory, which you can purchase on Amazon. Okay, and there are some reviews up there as well of individuals who've read the book and found it helpful. And then, secondly, I also recently started a business called Rehoboth Behavioral Health Services. And my target population is for individuals that are divorced, separated, partnerships that have broken up, but they still share children in common. And now it's a new life for them, but they're still living in the old place. And so this program is geared toward getting them to move forward. And also, one of the key issues that I address in my program is the issue of parental alienation syndrome, which is very, very detrimental and devastation to the life. It has a lifespan on the children in the
So
way that
glad
it's
you're doing
separated.
that because I see that in what I do. I'm a CASA volunteer, so you
Okay.
know everything we do affects our children, and we don't see it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
So
do.
sometimes the children get to feel like they have to choose between mom or dad.
Yes. Which is, if you think about it, it really is mind bending
Hmm.
because I'm designed by God, the Creator, to love and have both people in my life. So
Yep.
when I'm forced to choose, it messes with my mind.
Yes.
And
Well,
it
and
just, and
especially for children, they love so naturally, and when
they
we take
do.
that away from them,
Hmm. Yes.
it's
And so
very hard on the children.
it develops in them what we call distorted thinking process. And that follows throughout their lives in their choices and their decisions. And you find that children who are being alienated from one parent, that when they get to the early teens and teens, it backfires.
Every time.
It
Every time.
backfires.
Yep.
And the
Every
children pay
time.
the price in the long run. Of course, the parent who's doing the alienation will tell you it's the other parent's fault.
Yes.
But no, that's not it. But however, so that's my I don't know that's I have a passion for that.
Well,
Personally, because I grew up with parents who, you know, pulled me both ways.
yes. So you saw it firsthand.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I've lived
Well,
it.
so glad, and I hope those listening to us today will check out your book. And you're located in
I'm in Port Orange, Florida, and my program is online, and I'm present online in the program. You
awesome.
don't
So
just
that
go and go through stuff. I'm there with you, guiding you through, the different aspects of parental
good.
alienation and custody battles.
Wonderful. So that is, especially since COVID, I think we've all kind of changed how we do business and
We have
learning
to. We've had to.
to
We've
be
had to.
online and take advantage of technology because technology can be
It
there.
works.
Yeah,
And
because
why
then we
not?
can find resources that we might not really be able to drive to. I remember when we adopted our son, I mean, I had to
Hmm.
drive 45 minutes every other week for a therapist, and
Wow.
that could really be a hardship for
Yes, it could.
certain families.
Yes, it could. I mean, and sometimes people don't have the transportation availability, but you,
Mhm.
you can, you have a cell phone or a laptop, and you can
Yep.
sit in your home in the privacy of your home, and I'm there to guide you through these processes. And
Oh,
you can
that's
people can
awesome.
ask questions. And also, one of the core issues, one of the core pieces of Rehoboth is to address families as individuals,
Yep.
because it's not a one size fits all. Every family has its own dynamics. And so we want to address those dynamic issues, the positive as well as the negative, and the areas where they need to grow in that process.
That's awesome. That's very good service. And I hope many people, especially going through a divorce, take advantage of your services because, they might want to divorce each other, but when children are involved,
Now,
you got to,
there's a question my youngest son asked me this question when he was about, we separated when he was about 3. And so we're going through this divorce that was just hellish, on both our parts. I can't blame it
right.
all on him. I had my issues too. But he said to me one night, he says, Mom, is Dad divorcing me and my brother too?
Yep.
Because it felt that way to him.
Yes.
So, it's important. It's a sensitive matter, but it's important that we address it so the
Yep.
children can have their clarity and enjoy their lives and not be, because what happens is it becomes generational.
Yes.
It becomes generational. And you
They
find
learn.
that that's what they know. That's what
Yes.
you know. So that's what you live.
Yep. They learn to do that. So that's
We
great that
learn.
you
It's
provide
learned
that
behavior.
service.
Learned
Yep.
behavior.
Very good. Well, I
Anyway,
love that even with insurance, um, we can learn from each other. We need to
yes, we
talk
can.
to each other so that we can pass on that information. I tell people all the time,
Hmm.
you might not need my services, but let's sit down and chat. So I tell you what I do because you're going to come across somebody who might, and in
Need the services.
conversation.
Hmm.
So I love the couple times you and I have sat and chatted. Um,
Yes. Well, I learned quite a bit.
yes, but I like learning, especially with being a CASA volunteer and the things that I do. It's knowing that service. There's a couple counties in Georgia
Hmm.
that require, if you're going through a divorce, they require you to go to a class. And sometimes it's just a couple days, but you can learn a lot of information in a couple
Yes, you
days
can. Yes, you
of
can.
what you can do. And
Hmm.
with insurance, it's the same thing. We're always learning, and
We're
we have to
always, and,
be.
and I think we're designed to always learn. We're not supposed to stop.
Yep.
We're not supposed to stop. We need to keep growing.
Good.
We need to keep
Good.
growing. So I have some insurance questions for you, then.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. What can I
And,
help you with?
and the first one I'll start with is, what exactly is long-term care insurance?
Great question. And long-term care, depending on when you were introduced to long-term care,
Mm-hmm.
can really be totally different than someone else that a little older or someone a little younger. To
Okay.
me, long-term care insurance provides care for nursing home, assisted living, and home care. It's when
Okay.
you can no longer do 2 of your 6 daily living activities.
Okay.
So, but through the years, some people bought an insurance policy because, we weren't really concerned about home care because if we got to where we couldn't take care of ourselves, we went to a nursing home, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
some of these older policies only pay for if you're in a nursing home. Well,
Okay.
then home care kind of came really relevant to people wanting to stay home and have care as long as possible
Mm-hmm.
with cancer treatments, heart and stroke. You know, we are living through those and after those. So we kind of went back to doing our daily living activities, but we had maybe a year that we weren't. So
Right.
home care was important for those people to stay home. So
Mm-hmm.
now a traditional long-term care policy provides care for nursing home assisted living or at
At
home
home. Okay.
when you can't complete 2 of your daily living activities.
Okay.
And so it's very important. Now, because long term care has changed so much, and its availability has decreased. And when I say decreased, that means it is hard to get a traditional long-term care policy now. You used to get a long-term care policy that unlimited. Now you
Oh,
can only purchase up to 6 years. It's the longest you
really?
can get.
Wow.
Plus, you really have to go through some underwriting. They look at your medical records, your
Mm.
height and weight. They even look at your family history. If you
Wow.
have a family history of Alzheimer's dementia, that can make your policy kind of go up because your
Okay.
policy rate is based on um, your medical history and family history. So you can get a
Hmm.
preferred rate, which is a discount. The
Okay.
select is the standard. Then you can be class rated 1 or 2, which kind of adds a little more to your premium depending on your health.
Okay.
So, along those lines, when those things happen,
Hmm.
um, hybrid policies came out.
Okay.
And our question just came in: 6 years. Do I pay for 6 years or only pay for 6 years? Correct. You pay for your policy, you get it at age 55, and you pay for 5 years, 10 years until you need that plan. And then your plan will only pay up to 6 years of being in a nursing
Oh,
home or
I
being at
see.
home.
I
Now,
see.
the average person will
Hmm.
need some form of long term care for 2.5 years.
Oh,
Now, that's average. We all
okay.
know there's people that are a little different.
Okay.
Alzheimer's and dementia diagnosis, and even Parkinson's kind of provides longer care.
Okay.
But when you look at the average overall,
Hmm.
we're going to need care for an average of 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
So then comes in, I was going to switch to those hybrid plans. Some
Hmm.
hybrid policies come along where they just provide home care or they
Okay.
provide just nursing home care. And
Oh.
they're what they call short term care policies. They only cover up to a year of coverage.
Oh. Okay.
So those have become popular because they're easier to qualify for,
Okay.
but they only provide coverage for a short amount of time. But
Hmm.
depending on your savings, depending on what your needs are, sometimes we only need coverage or help for a year.
Right.
So it's best to talk to a licensed insurance provider that
Hmm.
can do both to
Okay.
find out what your needs are.
Okay. That
So
makes sense.
the difference between short term care and long term care is a short term policy only pays for a year. A long term care policy allows you to purchase 2 years or more, up to six
Okay.
years. So sometimes your short term policies are easier to qualify for
Okay.
and are less expensive.
Mm.
So, it just depends on your needs and what your expectations are. I tell people a lot of times that get these short term care policies, you have savings, you have a home, you have things in place.
Hmm.
Um, Someone will say, well, if I need to go to a nursing home, I'll sell my house. Well, we know looking back for the last 10 or 15 years, there were times when the housing market wasn't very
That's so good.
favorable to a
Right.
seller.
Right.
So the good news is when you have long term care in place, you're not rushing to sell mom's house so
Hmm.
that you can pay for a nursing home. You've got care to pay for a year
Yeah.
or 2 years and then sell the house. So you're not
Okay.
selling to the first person who comes to offer. You have time to wait.
You have time to wait and get the best price.
Yes.
I did
So
not know all of that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I
you're very
really
welcome.
had no idea that
Yes.
all of that was available
And
at
a
all.
lot of people kind of also like to ask, well, doesn't Medicare pay for long term care? And if you read your Medicare.gov book that you get in the mail for those that are over 65,
Okay.
for those that are not 65 and older, you might want to go to Medicare.gov and see some of the changes that are happening. But long term care is the one insurance that Medicare and the government recommend that you purchase.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, oh wow.
Because Medicare wasn't designed to cover long-term care.
No,
Now,
it wasn't.
you know, if you're at home and you need medical needs at home, you can get home care at home.
Right.
Well, what those involve is a nurse coming once a week to check on you.
Okay.
Physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, wound care, or IV medication. So Medicare and your insurance will pay for those services, but you know those people are only coming 2, 3, 4 days a week for 30 minutes or an hour, right?
Right.
So sometimes when we cannot do our daily living activities, we need someone to stay with us
Right.
24 hours. So custodial care is not covered by Medicare. And,
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't think that it would be though.
right.
I just wouldn't think that it would be. I have another question.
Sure.
Now, what about long-term disability? What is that about? Long-term, short-term, what is that?
Well, disability is usually paid out depending either short-term or long-term disability. Is when you're working a job and you've gotten injured on the job or health or something, and you've purchased disability insurance, and they anticipate a short-term disability. They anticipate you're going to go back to maybe not doing that job, but a job. Long-term disability is when you're not going to be able to do anything. So a lot depends on what insurance you've purchased with the job and how things are categorized or placed. So that is something everyone, if you're working full-time and your income is what, especially single, if you need that income, a disability policy is something you should look into.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Now, can you only purchase disability insurance through your employer? Or
No.
can you get it on your own?
Great question. The best place to purchase that, yes, is through your job.
Okay.
Because they're going to get those at the group rate.
Okay.
But we also know that some of us work for small businesses that don't have that. Right. So yes, I don't personally sell disability insurance, but I know there's a lot of people out there who do. So you want to contact a local reputable agent, someone that you can go see. You know, you might talk to them on the phone, but you also want to try to get someone local. Or a recommendation. I have a few that I can recommend, and kind of see what the prices are a little bit. I recommend getting at least 3 different quotes from 3 different companies.
Okay.
Good question.
Well, you would do the same thing with insurance on your car.
Right.
So that works. That makes a lot of sense. It's just the logic is there. My next question is, let's say you have a disability policy. Can you purchase them based on your full salary, or is it a percentage of the salary with disability?
Good question. And a lot of times it is when you're stuck in a group plan. Sometimes I think there are limits, and then some of it is state differences.
Okay.
But yes, you should be able to do partial or a little higher. Yes, but a lot of times it really is partial.
Partial. Okay. Are you licensed? I know your home base is Georgia. Are you licensed anywhere outside of Georgia?
Yes, I am licensed in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee.
Oh.
And the good news
is those again. Florida,
Georgia, Alabama,
Georgia,
and Tennessee.
Wonderful.
Yes. And the good news is I don't just automatically get licensed in a state unless I get a customer there. So I have been talking to someone in South Carolina. So we got MASA and we got dental and vision coverage, but I didn't need a license for that. but if she purchases a cancer plan or some life insurance, I'll do a couple things, paperwork, and get licensed in South Carolina. So it's an
Now,
easy thing to do. For me, it is.
you said something about dental plan?
Yes,
Really?
I have
I'd like to
dental.
hear about that.
Yes, we have dental insurance available through Emeritus.
Mhm.
The price is a little different depending on your state,
Okay.
but it covers 100% of your cleaning and your exam,
Hmm.
covers 80% of x-rays and repairs, and it
Hmm.
covers 50% of root canals, dentures, and crowns. It has
Okay.
a $75 deductible, meaning your policy goes from January to December. So the first time you go for a cleaning, you'll pay $75 and the rest is covered. And then
Okay.
your second cleaning is free.
Okay.
So it's part of it. So, yep, we have our vision plan through VSP. Most people are very familiar with that, and it is a
Did
great
you say
plan.
vision plan?
Yes. And I
Okay,
kind
let
of
me hear
call
about
it an
that.
eyeglasses plan
Okay.
or contacts because it pays, you have a small $15 copay for your annual exam once a year,
Okay.
and it pays for glasses, $150 for frames, and it pays for your lenses in full every year. And that
Wow.
includes single vision, lined bifocals,
Progressive?
trifocals, progressive,
Okay.
pays for that. So I got glasses last year. I wear contacts. So
Okay.
it pays $150 towards my contacts every year. But last year I needed new glasses. So my glasses were $560
Yes.
and I only paid $60.
Now,
So
that is, I didn't know that you I know when you work for an employer, they give you different coverages and you
yes.
can pick and choose and you pay a little bit extra, but I did not know that you could do that independent of all that.
Yes. And most of the time, 90% of the time, if your employer is offering a dental plan or a vision plan, chances are your work is paying part of the premium.
Right.
So a lot of times it is cheaper for you
Hmm.
to get it through work. But
Okay.
again, a lot of us work for small businesses or are small businesses.
Yes, we
So
work
we
for
have to go
ourselves.
outside the plan. So
Hmm.
we have a plan through AMBA. We work with Georgia retired educators, Georgia state retirees. We work with Florida retired educators, Alabama retired educators. So we're across in all states now.
Hmm.
When we started with educators, and now we work with city and county. So every state we work with different groups, but providing these plans in this group gives
Hmm.
us a little bit of an edge.
Okay.
And it helps us bring members to these associations.
Okay.
So, long term care, of course, is a 5% discount. We have Mutual of Omaha, it's a great plan.
Okay.
Um, and, also something somebody asked, if I can't qualify or afford long term care, where's another way I can pay for long term care?
Okay.
Well, we have first diagnosis cancer and first diagnosis heart and stroke plans.
Huh.
So, what are the things that are going to happen? Well, we're going to get cancer, heart attack, stroke. Also, our heart and stroke plan covers blindness, coma,
Hmm.
paralysis, renal failure, or any other major organ transplant. So,
Uh-huh.
if you qualify on the heart and stroke plan, you
Hmm.
can add specified diseases. So,
Oh.
adding specified diseases include those things, plus it'll pay out 50% for Alzheimer or dementia diagnosis.
Hmm.
So, if you buy a $10,000, $20,000, or $75,000 heart and stroke policy,
Hmm.
and cover that specified diseases and get a cancer plan first diagnosis plan, then you're going to be covered for almost anything that's going to happen. So
Okay.
say you can't qualify for long-term care,
Okay.
these are first diagnosis policies. They pay directly to you, to Miss
Huh.
Vivienne, You deposit it in your bank account and you use it for your care, medicine, whatever you need it for. And it pays at the first diagnosis. So getting these types of policies are another way to help pay for long-term care, because we know it is so expensive.
It is expensive. It is. Question. My next question is: let's say you've had a heart attack, and now you want to get insurance.
Mhm.
How does that work?
Unfortunately, if you've waited until you've had a heart attack, it is hard,
Okay.
but not impossible.
Okay.
If with our cancer plan and our heart and stroke, if you are cancer free or has been more than 5 years from your heart attack, you can purchase either plan.
Really?
Yes. So I had cancer at age 42.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to purchase a cancer plan 5 years later.
Okay.
Same thing with a heart and stroke. As long as you've been, it's been 5 years,
Okay.
then you can purchase a heart and stroke plan.
How prohibitive are the costs?
They vary based on your age.
Okay.
So right now, I bought a $20,000 cancer plan,
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 years ago, and mine is like $35 a month.
That's not
So
bad.
so it is based on how many birthdays you've had today.
Okay.
So depending, and the policy limit. So
Okay.
most of the time when I sit down with someone, we can find something in their price range. I bought a
Okay.
heart and stroke policy for my husband and I 6 years ago, and I got $20,000 for both of us. We were 47, and I think he just turned 50, and we paid $39 a month for that one.
That one.
So we can find something to fit your budget or your expectations. I have Cigna and I have Mutual of Omaha. Cigna's a great plan that has a lot of extras.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual of Omaha is a basic once and done type policy,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be less expensive than Cigna. Cigna has reoccurrence rider. Cigna has the benefit builder, meaning if you buy a $10,000 policy today, it builds $500 every year or adds $1,000 every year, depending on what benefit builder you chose.
So then when you buy these policies, you buy them in specific amounts then? Like
Correct.
you say, $10,000, $20,000 policies.
Yes. So we sit
Okay.
down and I say, how many birthdays have you had? And we look up the rate, and I'll quote 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20, and you decide on what limit you want.
Okay.
Yep.
That is, you have just released to me and anyone who's going to watch this program a wealth.
Good.
A wealth of information, because I know you need health insurance, and I have car insurance, right. And if you rent or you have a house, I know about those insurances, but I didn't realize that outside of my health insurance, I could add to that.
Yes. And I think that's becoming something we don't talk about often enough, but also it's becoming more relevant today because what's happening are deductibles are going up, and so are our copays.
Right.
And we got another question. Am I able to get long-term care policy on someone else? Yes and no. When you say get it on someone else, they have to participate and they have to know that you're getting
that you have this insurance for them. Yes. You can't just do it.
Correct. Because with a long-term care policy, if you're getting a long-term care policy, most of the time you have to give permission for them to see your medical records. It usually takes us about 30 to 45 days to get a policy issued. And I say you apply for it. They request your medical records. They look at your medical records, and then they approve you, or they put you in a particular tier.
Okay.
And then the good news, don't hesitate about getting a policy, because if you purchase anything medical, life insurance, cancer plan, heart and stroke, you have what they call a free look period. So yes, I purchased this product. Sometimes you want to apply to see if you'd even qualify. Now I've got my policy. It's issued. You have 30 days from the date you receive your policy in the mail to go, well, I thought it was a good idea, but I changed my mind.
Okay.
You call your agent, you return it within that 30-day free look period, and you will be refunded your money. Wow. If you wait after the 30 days, you can cancel your policy, but you won't get a refund.
Okay. This is just, I'm receiving an education, a very valuable education.
Well, I'm so glad you came on.
I did not realize was so vast.
Thank you very much. And we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll think up some more questions to talk about, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Vivienne.
Will do. You're welcome.
We are back with our special series about the cost of cancer, which touches just about everyone. Drug prices driving patients and their families into bankruptcy, including one woman you're about to meet, forced to move out of her home just to pay for the medicine she needs to keep her alive. NBC's Ann Thompson shares her story.
I win.
Lauren Bauman's laugh masks a growing anger about the price of her life.
Without this pill, we die. Our families are left because we couldn't afford a pill.
The pill Gleevec helps manage her chronic myeloid leukemia, a daily dose that keeps this single mom of 9-year-old Aubrey alive. Even after her insurance kicks in, Lauren's monthly copay can run as high as $2,200, twice the average mortgage payment. It's helped drive Lauren into bankruptcy, though she has a full-time job. Now she's packing up her condo and moving back in with her mom.
On days I feel like I can't go on anymore, all I have to do is look at her, and she's my reason.
Gleevec is a nearly $5 billion a year drug for Novartis, the price more than tripling since Gleevec's 2001 debut, from $2,600 a month to $9,200 today, even though the drug has not changed.
That's not inflation. Right? And that's happened as they've recouped their investment in the drug many, many times over.
Memorial Sloan Kettering's Dr. Peter Bach says the U.S. cancer drug market is completely broken.
What is it that drives the price of a cancer drug then?
Essentially, companies set the price as high as they think they can get away with. And they say it's the cost of research or something like that, but there's no evidence of that.
In the last 5 years, there have been at least 15 new cancer drugs that cost more than $10,000 a month. But unlike Gleevec, these drugs may only extend life by an average of months, not years. Bach says drug prices should be tied to performance.
The prices have nothing to do with value, so they're hard to explain. They're hard to justify.
How many programs have you been on?
Almost every month for 4 years, Lauren's begged her church, charities, even Novartis to help her pay for Gleevec.
I send a picture of her so they can see it's not just me, it's her.
Last month, Novartis agreed to help. Lauren will pay just $10 a month, but she will need to reapply every year for the rest of her life. In a statement, Novartis says profits pay for research, which has led to the approval of Gleevec for 5 more rare cancers. The majority of patients, it says, pay less than $100 out of pocket per month. And it offers an extensive assistance program for those who can't afford the medicines like Lauren.
To me, that's you playing God. You're getting to pick and choose who's living and who's dying, all because of a buck.
The high cost of life that for Lauren and so many others is priceless. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Louisville, Kentucky.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks.
When it seemed like the world had stopped, as if our normal would never be again. Confinement Chronicles.
Still, there were those who held fast to hope. These are their stories. From teachers to dads to nurses on the front line, they have chronicled their messages of hope. Confinement Chronicles, now available. Order today on Amazon Also available in audiobook or at laderopress.com.
Confinement Chronicles.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. This is Dr. April Johnson, and I invite you to come bring your flowers and spend a little time, a few minutes with Dr. AJ. And I'm Dr. AJ, Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to the financial empowerment, wealth, and wellness. What can we do together to bring a better community while we're prospering in the ways in the land? Come join with me. You're invited. I can't wait to see you. Please follow all the inscriptions at the bottom at drapriljohnsonOutlook.com. We look forward to spending a few minutes with me. I need you. You need me to prosper. Thank you.
You are now watching an insurance chat with Debbie. Tonight's special guest's topic is, what are my long-term care insurance options? We'll be back with more in just a minute. You are invited to attend a virtual book fair event, Books and Besties, Sunday, December 11th, 2022, from 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Introducing the world to our books and our businesses. Log on to meet authors, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, community advocates, and learn about products, services, events, opportunities, and more. Search for Books and Besties on Facebook and YouTube. And you may also send an email to volusiabusinesswomen@gmail.com for advertising and guest feature options. Debbie Scarborough is a member of Volusia Business Women, and Volusia Business Women is a promotional sponsor for this show. The book tour is coming to Southfield, Michigan, Saturday, December 3rd, 2022. Join us for networking, meet the authors, free gifts for all attendees. We want you to save the date, bring your family, and shop for the holidays. For vendor registration or for more information, you may call or send a text to 248-702-5559. That's 248-702-5559. Promotional consideration for this show is sponsored in part by Lolo's Social Media Promotions, blowing up your book, ministry, event, or business with content and comments. Send an email to larethapromotes@gmail.com. Ask about her affordable rates, payment plans, and her satisfied clients. Angie B. and Barty Productions is honored to bring you this show every week at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday mornings. Now it's time to get back to an insurance chat with Debbie, because insurance doesn't matter until it does.
Thank you
Hello.
for coming back. Yay!
Thank you for having me back. This has been wonderful.
Good. I'm so glad you were able to join me today.
Me too. Me too. I have another question now.
Sure.
Say, for example, I was ill and I live in Port Orange, Florida, and say I was over at Daytona Beach Halifax Hospital, and my issues were so that this hospital could not take care of me, and they needed to airlift me somewhere else. How do I pay for that? Because I've never had it happen, but I can't imagine that it's a small sum.
Right. Well, the good news is when that happens, the doctors will decide to transfer you, and you'll be none the wiser until you get home and open the bill. And you're right as far as paying for it, because our health insurance doesn't cover it all. So we have a MASA plan, the ground, air, and ambulance plan.
Okay.
And it pays 100% after your health insurance.
Really?
Yes. And unfortunately, what's happened is, most people got this plan because they wanted to travel overseas.
Okay.
And this plan covers you anywhere in the world. So if you happen to go visit Israel or Spain or somewhere and you get hurt or injured, kind of like travel insurance, sort of.
Okay.
But it would get you home. You missed your flight, so they would pay. Or if it was an emergency, they would get you home. But unfortunately, with the deregulation of the airlines, that included these private helicopter companies. And they're great helicopter companies. Some of them provide life-saving emergency care. Because they're getting you from one hospital to another because they're trying to get you to a trauma center. Okay. So it comes with a price tag, unfortunately. And then when you take off the tape and say, okay, you can charge whatever you want, well,
they charge whatever they want. They charge whatever the market will bear.
Exactly. And so what that has done is that it's caused insurance companies to say that is unreasonable charge, so they don't cover it all. Well,
really?
They also aren't in network. So we do such a good job when we get our health insurance. We find a doctor in network. We find a hospital in network. We try to stay within that framework in network. Well, what we don't realize is when there's an emergency situation, we're not checking IDs.
No.
We're going to get on the first ambulance, or we're going to get on the first helicopter that picks us up.
Right.
So then what happens is we find out that our ambulance or our helicopter was not in network. So insurance paid their part, and now you get stuck with the rest. So, okay, well, how much is the rest, right? An average helicopter ride is $46,000.
No.
So most insurance, you could be, even if insurance was in network, some insurance you are stuck with 20%.
Right.
Well,
that's still a nice chunk.
That's still a nice chunk, right? Then if it's out of network, if it's $46,000, but they only cover $22,000, you're stuck with the difference. Well, MASA pays 100%, any ground, any air, anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And you have, with your membership with MASA, you have pre-approval anywhere. You don't have to worry about calling them. You have pre-approval for emergency transportation. So with AMBA, through me, we get a great discount through our associations.
Okay.
So we can help sign you up with one of our associations, and you get a 40% discount. And for Florida residents, you get a discount. You're a little cheaper. You're $24.17 a month. In Georgia, in any other state, you're $27 a month for single. So
why is it so much in Florida?
It's less in Florida because Florida, it's considered an insurance policy and not a membership. So, yeah. So
if I wanted to get that insurance, how would I go about it?
All you have to do is call me. And all I need is your name. Everybody qualifies for it.
Okay.
So birthday, email address, and how you want to pay. and you can purchase it. You can do it on Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover, or set it out to come out of your checking account monthly.
Okay.
And you're a member. It is, you call me and we get it started, and it's effective that day. So it's a great plan to have. Massa also charges a $60 application fee. So they waive that for our members. So when you join, if you're in Florida, if you join Florida Retired Educators, Georgia Retired Educators in Georgia, or one of our associations, they waive that application fee plus that 40% discount. So it's a great plan. I have one for me and my husband because it also protects me when I travel. You know, I've come down to Daytona quite a bit. If I'm more than 100 miles from home and I'm in Daytona, guess what hospital I'm going? To Daytona. But if I'm going to be down there for a long time, my Massa plan will also pay to transfer me back to Tifton.
Oh, okay.
So it works in reverse a little bit. So it's a great plan to have. So I encourage anybody, if you want to chat about it, text me.
So is there a single person plan and a family plan?
Correct. If you're single in Florida, it's $24.17. If you're married, you can include your spouse for $32.50.
Okay.
If you have children under the age of 26 still living at home, that $32.50 covers them.
Wow.
As well.
No matter where they are.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
So, yep. So very good. So I'm so glad you joined me today. I think we learned quite a bit today.
Yes, we did. Yes, we have. I have.
Good. I'm glad. My goal, I have been in insurance for 22 years.
Wow.
I've done a little bit of everything. This is my favorite part of being a benefits representative, is because I get to come to you. I get to sell those supplemental policies. I did home and auto. I did commercial, medical insurance. But this is my favorite, is that supplemental. I mean,
Did you say you do home and auto policies?
I used to do a home and auto policy.
But not anymore.
Not anymore, but I'll gladly, and one of my topics in the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about home and auto. I have a real passion for auto insurance because most people don't realize when they call company A and company B to quote their insurance, a lot of times they just get the state minimum. So we don't know what that covers.
Right.
And so I gladly will help anyone listening to me today look at their auto policy and make sure that they have the proper coverage. Because when you call and say, oh, I want full coverage, well, what does that mean? And the reality is it means different depending on who's listening on the other end.
Well, I mean, I have what they call comprehensive auto policy. What does that mean? To me, comprehensive means it would cover everything.
Correct. And again, some people think the word full coverage covers everything. So depending on your state, because the state has different limits, but a comprehensive policy to me is going to cover your liability, your uninsured motorist, your comp and collision coverage, medical payments, and car rental. So if you have a comprehensive policy, but some people think the word full coverage means that I cover everything. So it's a good idea to look at it. I'll gladly help look at it. And I have contacts with people in Florida and Georgia.
You know what? I think I'm going to take you up on that because I recently purchased a new car. My policy is way out there now.
Yeah.
Premium, but when I read it, and I've tried to read it, Debbie, I really don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what it tells me.
Exactly. And you're no different than me, even as an insurance agent. I trusted who I called to give me the right thing.
Right.
And in Georgia, the state minimum is 25, 50, 25. Okay, what does that mean? That means you're required to have 25,000 medical, 25,000 property damage, and 50,000. The middle number is the policy limit.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you, when you bought a new car, did you buy a new car or a used car?
You.
New?
You.
Well, if you're driving in Georgia and you bought the minimum, if someone hits you that's driving around with the minimum and you purchased a $35,000 car, how much is their insurance company going to pay?
Minimum. What's that
$25,000.
minimum? Yeah, wow.
Correct. So that's why I carry a $500,000 in coverage and $1 million umbrella policy.
Really?
So no matter who I hit, or I also have uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists. So if someone hits me that doesn't have insurance, or someone driving around with the state minimum, then I'm covered under my policy too. So it's very important, and some people will use a strategy, well, you don't have anything, so you don't need it. Well, that's okay. But if you own a home, you have savings, you need to carry more than the state minimum. So we're going to talk about that next Saturday. I think I even have a special guest in mind.
Okay.
And I think we just created, thank you.
Next show.
I cannot ever think of what to talk about, and I think we just figured it out.
Okay,
So
because I definitely want to get in touch with you and have you look at my policy and explain to me what it does, what it means.
Good.
Because I really don't know.
Yep. Well, I will call you and we'll get this taken care of. And next Saturday morning, we're going to talk about auto insurance.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Awesome.
It's been so great talking with you, Debbie. Thank you.
You too. I look forward to talking to you later this week.
Okay.
All right.
Will do. Sure thing.
All right.
All right. God.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me for Insurance Chat with Debbie, because insurance doesn't matter until it does. Until next Saturday at 8 a.m., have a great week, and don't hesitate to text or call me with questions. Bye.